we were staying in Suffolk between Christmas and New Year, it was also Dominic's birthday. So we decided to go out for the day, just the two of us, and we took a little trip to Clare, which is a small town in Suffolk. We already knew it had a good bookshop and a couple of antique shops because we'd done a little bit of research before we went. And it sounded perfect for Dominic because he loves looking around both of those, and so do I. So that's where we went, and I filmed a little bit of it for you so you could come along with us. Welcome to our impromptu little haul section of the video. I'm sitting here with Dominic. We both have really bad colds, so please excuse our voices. This was Dominic's idea to do this little haul in the middle of the video. So Dominic, start us off.
Okay, well hello by the way. This bag is something we bought in the little bookshop Harris & Harris Books, along with this lovely old book, The Poetical Works of Eliza Cook.
That's really beautiful, isn't it?
I'm not familiar with Eliza Cook, but there is a
this is a picture of Eliza.
Engraving of her.
Oh,
and there she is.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So
nice.
How much did that cost?
I think that was £4.50, I think.
Oh, that's not bad, is it?
No, £5.
Oh, £5.
Oh, £5.
Nice
old stamps. They belong to E. Watson.
I love all of these details you get in antique books, like little book plates and things.
And this is obviously 4 in a series of.
Oh right, okay. So that may be featured in one of your book posts on Instagram.
I'm sure it will eventually. And then this is another one, which is St. Winifred's, or The World of School.
We really fell in love with the cover of this one, didn't
lovely,
we?
Isn't it? I love these.
Were these both from?
This is from
Harris & Harris. Okay. So what does it say?
It's got a little dedication to Bertie with love from Gordon.
It's so sweet.
There's little illustrations in there.
Oh, it has fantastic illustrations in this one. Oh, look at those boats.
Great. Yeah, brilliant. And then all sorts of daring do going on. I would say this is they're referring to the bag they're referring to. It's in the public schools where the younger boys would sort of be like a servant to the older boys.
Is that what a fag is?
Yeah.
Okay.
In this context.
Right. Excellent.
Okay, so now we have this is actually a brand new book.
And this is from Harris & Harris.
This is also from Harris & Harris.
What was nice about Harris & Harris is that it was a bookstore that sold new books and old books as well, didn't it? And beautiful cards too, which I'm going to show you in a moment.
Yeah. So this is Houses, an Architectural Guide.
And we were really shocked to find that even though it's an American book, the first photograph in the book is of Kersey in Suffolk,
which featured in one of your earlier
YouTube
videos.
From last May.
But it's a fascinating book with all sorts of different
So this will be
architectural
handy
features. Yes, when we're going on our travels and
we're looking at old buildings, which is
Yes.
something we love to do.
we certainly
Excellent.
do. So that's that. A little very handy, nice little notebook, which
Oh, that's
rather
lovely.
good.
Let me feel the quality of the paper. I like to. Oh, it is actually. It's really smooth.
The cover is particularly pleasing.
It's beautiful.
And it's got an elastic band and a little ribbon bookmarker. All things I love in a notebook.
And also, it's red and grey, and you love red, don't you?
I
love the combo
red
of
and grey. Yes.
So shall I show them what I got in Harris & Harris?
Yes.
Before we go on to the other bit? Okay, so I got 2 of these. These are called Instead of a Card. So they're like a tiny book with beautiful illustrations, and they do them about lots of different topics. These 2 are 10 poems about snow. I fell in love with the illustration on the front and back cover, and I really look forward to reading the poems. And this is why I bought 2 of these, because I'm going to send one to some lucky person, but also I'm going to keep one for myself because this looks so lovely. And I initially saw this before we went to Clare on their Instagram page. They'd kind of posted about this, so yeah, I saw they had a couple of copies, so I got them. And the other thing I got was this was in the second-hand book section, even though it looks in such good condition. But the funny thing about this, I know my friend Joe has a lot of these Wainwright books. Oh, there it was. I love the illustrations, and I thought it would just be very interesting and very inspiring for me. And if I ever happen to go back to the Lake District, it will also be very handy. But here, this is what I found really interesting, is the original receipt from when it was purchased back in November of 1992 from Dillon's in the High Street in Colchester in Essex, which isn't that far from Clare in Suffolk. So it hasn't travelled that far. It actually was $8.99 when the person bought it 27 years ago. And I paid £7.95. So there we go. A little bit of history in that book.
So the other things we bought in a couple of different little antique shops in Clare were these lovely little...
I'll try and get that to focus.
Yeah, focus.
Oh,
I'll put them in my hand. These lovely little French favours, they're called. So these would have been put into like a Christmas pudding
or a New Year cake or something like
that. And then there'd be a whole load would have been put in, and different people would get them in there helping, and then that would signify something for the rest of the year. And if someone got the king, they'd be king for the day. I think that's his right. Anyway,
yeah, that's what the lady said, wasn't it?
Yes. Anyway, we have an angel, a drum, a little parrot, a moon, and a trumpet. So in the
they've just been dumped down
there we are. And then
this
was from the antique shop just next door to Harris & Harris Books. So we climbed the hill because we go on quite a few walks, and we always seem to be climbing a hill.
We do, this is true.
It was given as a prize from the Norfolk Education Committee, awarded to Cecil Hudson for regular and punctual attendance during the school year of 1907 to 1908.
It's crazy how old this is.
That was at Swaffham Boys' School.
Oh, yes.
I love how they have all the adverts for other books in the back of these old books.
Yeah, you don't see that so much.
No, people are missing a trick, publishers.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, final thing, isn't it? Are these lovely little printing blocks.
I'm trying to.
I don't know if you can.
Oh yes, I can focus on that. Yeah.
So we got a selection of those, all different fonts and letters. There we are.
And they were quite a bargain because, well, I paid for these two separately. I got an A for a friend of mine. It's really, we can focus on that. It's a really lovely A. And I got a 5 because 5 is my lucky number. I bought those separately and they were a bit more expensive, but Dominic managed to get 2 packs, didn't you? In the packs she was selling really quite cheaply because I've seen these for a lot more money. And you paid, I think it was £5 per set, wasn't it?
Yeah, so a couple of D's, which I'm pleased about, and an N, which might be given to someone not too far away.
Yeah, it's a nice selection, and you've got some numbers too, and an exclamation mark, which we always like.
Yes.
So there is our haul from Clare. Share just a few more of the really unique and varied buildings in Clare with you, and also the little house at the end. I totally fell in love with this one. We popped back to my mum's for a cup of tea, and when we were there, Ruby, our other cat, was really making me laugh because she was watching a nature programme on the TV and totally getting into it. Later in the evening, I took Dominic out for his birthday meal at the dog pub in Grunsborough. This is a village just a few miles from where my mum lives. We'd never been to this pub before, but the food was delicious and the surroundings were really Christmassy and warm and cosy, and it just ended the perfect day.